Hi everyone, welcome to another Sunday Smile. My name is Ibtihal Badawi. I'm an expressionistic artist. I use my emotion to guide me with each painting. It's a new discovery to learn about me and about the world. And I think of my art as bringing people together. And that's why I create Sunday Smile to bring people together. And today we have a special guest, Eman. Hi.
Hi guys.
Can you
Hello.
tell us more about you?
Okay, so my name is Eman and I'm a healer. I have discovered after I did theta healing, I have discovered that I have some kind of way of speaking to people and guiding people when they are doing meditation, and I can feel their energy so much, so I can guide them to where they want to go and solve the problem in their head. I also work with a lot of people that have difficulties accepting themselves. I am someone that I accept each and every person, whoever you are, color, sexuality, whatever you want to do in life. I accept each and every individual as they are, because I feel that everyone has a special journey and each journey makes this life whole. So I would like to show people and help people to accept themselves as they are and recognize their part in the journey that we call life.
That's amazing. Can you tell us more about your work?
So what I do most of the time, I get girls and women that want to solve a problem, whether it's love, marriage, family, and it all comes down to how they look at themselves in the mirror, how far they have accepted themselves, and sometimes we know who we are, but we are scared to accept that part in us because we're scared of what people might say or what society will tell us to do or not to do. And that's where I feel is my message, to not focus on what people will say, but what if they were not there and there was nothing to say? Who would you be and what would you do?
That's amazing. Yes, it's self-love. It's important
But
to
it comes to self-love, yeah, and that self-love starts with self-acceptance. That's the key. We can have so many exercises, so many meditations, we can do so many things. If you do not accept who you are, you cannot start the journey self-love. And a lot of people start their self-love journey and they write gratitude lists and they journal and they meditate, but at the end of the day they do not feel 100% satisfied. They don't feel they are whole. There is something missing, and that's the first step, which is self-acceptance.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
You mentioned that your talent is obviously feeling other people's energy, because not everyone is aware enough to be able to do that.
Yeah.
What would a typical session entail? So you've got someone there who has something they need to work through. How are you able to apply your talent to help them achieve what they're aiming for?
So, for example, someone comes to me and they just general start talking about the things they do and what bothers them or what they would like to change in themselves. And then I start asking them, because I get this, I don't know if it's like a signal in my head, my feelings, I feel like I can feel what they feel, and that's what empaths have, is they feel other people's energies very much. So I already feel where they want to go, where their brain wants to go. And then I start asking them questions to lead them to that problem or that solution. So it mostly comes to fear, resentment, um, family issues, and I try to work with that. The minute they start feeling uncomfortable, they start moving or they start crying or they want to cut the session, that's when I know I'm very close to that bottom belief that they want to solve.
And just to continue that, how, in your experience, I guess I'm trying to figure out how to ask the right question.
Yeah.
What is the most effective way to try to get a person to recognize that thing that they want to run away from is actually where they need to go? What tools do you have for that? Because that's not easy.
No, that's not easy. So what I would ask is, what's the worst thing that could happen if that what you're fearing is actually happening? And most of the time, they come to the point where they have to face themselves. So most of the time, we don't want to face who we are or our problems. So the brain creates problems around us to distract us from the real problem. So when I say to you, because you started talking about you don't see the human shape and you draw, but you don't draw like a goldfish. And then I would ask you, what's the worst thing that could happen if you could paint the perfect person on paper? And then I cannot go on in a session right now, but you can ask yourself after you finish this, you can ask, what's the worst thing that could happen to me if I did? And I already sense a few things that would come up to you. And then when you start feeling emotional, you just, at the end of the day, it's safe to do what you want to do. It's safe to draw the perfect human being on paper. Maybe it's like thinking, I'm not God, so who am I to write the perfect or to draw the perfect person on paper? So that's what I feel when it comes to people, when they try to avoid the problem, they start getting like, I don't want to talk about it. But it's what's the worst thing that could happen if it did happen? And I also do meditations with people where I say, close your eyes, we're going to meditate. And during that meditation, they come to a point where they cannot finish the meditation. They cannot go further than when they are standing in their imagination. And that's when I know, okay, there's a block there. That's fear or resentment or anger. And that's when I start working, okay, let's go, take that block and work and move it out of the way.
It's fascinating. Thank you.
No worries.
It's amazing, really, like how the brain it wants us to survive. So
Exactly, yeah.
It put all of these blocks so in order to protect us.
Yeah.
In order to live more, in order to survive. So, but whenever we dig deeper and we learn about ourselves, we find all these layers of blocks and things.
Yeah, and it's mostly also because we try to keep our ego alive. Again, it comes to self-acceptance, because I feel ego is like a veil on who you really are. And for example, if someone is gay, they are not accepted in the society as a gay person. They try to protect themselves. The ego comes out, acts different. Why? Because I'm protecting myself from a secret that if I tell it to the world, they will not accept me or they will harm me. So the ego stays alive, and that's what the brain does, because you think someone might say something, or you think the society has something against you, or you think that life will in general be harder to live if you would be yourself. Then the ego comes alive, and then it comes and acts out and becomes this barrier between what you want to become and who you are now. It's the barrier, that's the ego. And that's why to kill that ego, it's not always easy, because it's everywhere on your shoulder, whispering in your ear. But it's just to accept others as they are, accept situations as they are, accept life the way it goes. And then you feel some sense of freedom where it's like, okay, then it's all right. It's all good. And that's when you accept. And that's kind of the mantra I have in my head every time something happens and the ego comes out. I'm like, it's all right. It's okay. This is what it is now. And that's that. So it brings down a lot of hard feelings, sadness, anger, because once you accept something, there is nothing to fight against.
I think something that you said that really it kind of turned on a little light for me was about how we build things to distract ourselves.
Yeah.
And at least for me anyways, one of the things I see as kind of an issue in society in general today is that we are very easily distractible to start with, but then there are lots of even external things that we can use as distractions. We really don't have to work very hard to build distractions anymore because there are so many
exactly
readily available to us. How
yeah.
do you coach someone through dealing with the external factors? Because you've got two sets of factors. You've got those internal ones that are the ego, and that's very strong and very hard to overcome. And then in addition to this voice on your shoulder, you've got all these other little voices that
Yes.
surround you every day. How do you help people work through that?
You have to ask yourself at the end of the day, do I need to do this? Do I need this fight with my partner? Do I need, so we fight with people around us because when we feel uncomfortable, we go and search for to fight with a partner or sister or friend. You start working, making over hours because you feel, no, I need to do this. You get this sense of addiction. You know, that's when people start get addicted with alcohol and drugs because they need that. But if you take that away, where do you go? What happens? You go back to yourself. So when you do something, when there is an argument with your partner, for example, you ask yourself, do I really need this argument now? What is the real reason I started this argument? Or if your partner asks you or you can ask your partner, what's the reason you started this argument with me? What's really bothering you? That's when you know, because that's distraction. We don't need to fight with each other if we are content and we can communicate in a proper way. We don't need to have an abuse of alcohol and drugs if we know how to take it in the right balance. Alcohol, then you can have a glass of wine and you're fine with it because you don't need it as a distraction. It's also with eating, overeating. People get bored, they eat. People are angry, they start eating. People are sad, they start eating. So why do you need this distraction? You ask yourself, why do I need this? I have this, for example, because I'm still in the process. It's a never ending process. I go on Instagram immediately when I feel I'm annoyed. And sometimes I feel like, no, I need to detox. So I don't use my phone for a day or two, and especially the weekends, because then I can focus on what is truly bothering me. Why do I grab the phone? Because I want to look at others, so I don't look at myself. So I can see what others are doing, so I don't have to think about what I'm doing. You know, especially when something convenient happens, that's when I grab my phone. And that's the habit I have created. So then I ask myself, do I need this? Why am I doing this? And that's when you know you have created a distraction or you're doing unnecessary things.
It's funny that you mentioned technology because I think that when I talk about the outside distractions, I think that's probably one of the biggest ones we have these days because it's easy.
Exactly.
They made it just interesting yet shallow enough that you don't have to get into. Because it was really interesting you said about, when you're the eating example you gave, when you're angry, you eat. When you're sad, you eat. And we're eating instead of thinking about why we're sad. Is there a reason that people do that? Why do we avoid those negative places if the reality is that if we would just dive into those emotions for a little while, we can kind of break them up and get through them?
That's when the ego comes to the place, because the ego wants to stay alive. That's how you feed the ego. You feed the ego with basically things that are actually not really good for you. So to keep the ego alive, you're going to do these things. That's just how your mind works right now. That's just how the ego has created these habits, and it's hard to these habits. So it's again facing yourself. The ego is in between who you want to become or who you truly are and who you are now. The ego is in between. And if you kill that ego and you go to who you truly are, there's no space for the ego to be alive. And just like humans, the ego wants to stay alive. So it will do whatever it takes to stay alive. And that's why we rather deal with our emotions, our feelings, and life circumstances with negative habits than actually face them. We're too scared to face them because we have never learned to face them. Because since we're young, since we're children, you cry, here's a toy, play with it, go to your room. You get angry or you want to say something, and your parents, no, you cannot say it, you're not an adult. You have no saying in this. Now you see a baby crying or a kid crying and the parents give them an iPad or an iPhone to play with. They're pushing who they truly are, what they want to express. And at some point, you don't think about expressing anymore. You think about distracting yourself when you feel something you want to express. And that's how it goes. It's also part of the ego. It wants to stay alive. It doesn't want to go away. Nobody wants to die today. So it stays alive. And for example, with the eating, I love snacks, I love junk food, but I eat because I want to feed my body. I don't eat because I want to eat. So I only eat actually when I'm hungry. And I have a sister, my twin sister actually, she loves to eat. There's something on the table and she goes and eats. And I'm like, hey, she's like, I don't understand why you don't eat. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to eat. Yeah, but why not? It's so good. I'm like, yeah, but I eat because I want to feed my body. And right now I don't feel like feeding it because I don't feel hungry. So you have to find new ways of working with your negative or bad habits. And slowly you can, I wouldn't say kill the ego completely, but at least have more control over it.
Thank you. And that's very interesting. What you just said right then, having control over it, because you can't kill it technically, even though it thinks it can be killed and it protects itself. You really can't, because it's part of you. So that's an interesting thought. Thank you. It's not so much killing it as retraining it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I heard before this questions, it says, is it important, like when you have an argument, is it important, you ask yourself, is it important to be right or to be free? So sometimes we argue with other people just to prove our point of view is the right one. But then what's important to you? To be right or to be free? So, and it comes of acceptance. Accept who you are, accept other people.
The ego always wants to be right. The ego always wants to be right. The ego thinks it can never be wrong. So that's why we get into arguments. It can never be wrong. I say, this is orange. You say, no, it's red. I'm like, no way, it's orange. No, you say it's red. And then you start having an argument if it's red or orange, but who cares? The ego always wants to be right. So if it's the ego that comes in the way, then you're going to ask yourself, why do I want to win this argument? Why have I started this argument? Is it really important to be right? If you see it red and I see it orange, that's all good. I mean, it is what it is.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely. Can you give us like a meditation, a quick meditation, and then we can draw an exercise? What do you think?
Okay, so let's see. I haven't prepared something, but let's do the self-acceptance one.
Okay.
I don't know if you can put some meditation music.
I can. Do you have one in your phone?
I can see here. Like I share a Spotify account with my sisters, so I have sometimes my meditation on, and all of a sudden I hear Latin music, my voice. I'm not dancing now. I think I have one sec. Going to the library. So we'll do the self-acceptance one. I like the self-acceptance one because it's always good to, you know, do that. Let's see. I'm not sure if this is loud or not. Okay. So we're going to close our eyes. And I want you to focus on my voice and the music. Every thought that comes in your mind, let it go. And tell this thought you can come back in an hour or so. Right now, I'm doing this meditation. So come back in an hour. If the thought stays in your head, I want you to blow the thought away. So we're going to take a deep breath. Hold your breath for 3 seconds. And now blow out and let all the thoughts blow away. See them going further and further until they become a small dot, and now they're gone. We're going to bring our minds to our heart. Focus on your breathing. Feel your heart. Feel it pumping. Feel the blood going into your body, to every part of your body. Imagine there is a light in your heart. That's your soul. I want you to take a deep breath. Hold it for 3 seconds. And when you breathe out, this light goes through your whole body. See it going all the way up to your head, your neck, your shoulders, your back and chest. The light goes down your arms and your finger, down to your belly, your lower back, goes to your hips, your legs, all the way to your toes. You're now shining bright like the sun. See if there is any specific color you have around you. I want you to step out of your body. Turn around and look at yourself. Look at yourself sitting there. Look at your face, your hands. Maybe it feels like this is the first time you actually see yourself. Look at your hair, your legs, Look at your chest going up and down as you breathe. I want you to put your hand on your heart and say, I accept myself as I am. I accept myself peacefully, without any resentment. I forgive myself for not accepting myself before, but as of this moment, I accept myself truly. Accept yourself, all the flaws, accept that who you were in the past. Accept yourself from head to toe, inside out. And see how you accepting yourself is part of this journey we call life. You know in your heart why you came here. You know in your heart who you are. Now it's time to let your soul shine and show everyone who you truly are without having any fear. See yourself, see the light shining brighter and brighter. See it shine your whole house, brighten up your house, your street, brighten up the city you live in, the country, and going all around the world, touching every human being that needs to feel the love. And see it as it goes out, more comes in, and your soul shines brighter and brighter. See the light you're touching, and look at how happy you truly, truly are when you are being who you were meant to be. Now hug yourself and go back into your body. The light is still there, but now you're seeing your skin becoming the normal color. You're aware of where you're sitting, but your heart still shines, and know that your soul is there to always remind you who you truly are. And you can open your eyes when you're ready.
Thank you. It's so great.
You're welcome.
So do you have anyone, you need a piece of paper and a pen or a marker?
Oh, I don't have any with me now.
You don't have any paper or and pen?
No, I have to look
Pencil.
around. That's correct.
I can give you a minute.
Let's see, I have something here. I'll go for pink. Yeah.
So guys, like we did the meditation, it's amazing. So I want you to close your eyes and get the piece of paper and just draw a line, like you know, circle line, wavy line, any lines.
Okay.
What do you feel? Okay, and just for a
Yeah.
couple of seconds, and then until I tell you, I'm gonna do it too. Until I tell you, open your eyes. Okay, let's do it. Okay,
Yeah.
take a deep breath and start. Let's open our eyes and see what did we do.
Oh my God, so similar to mine. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, 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 yes. Now I want you to look at this and see, what can you see? What can you see in it?
I would say connection.
Connection.
Connecting a lot of people. Yeah.
Mine actually has a heart in the middle of all those connections. There's almost kind of a body going on.
I feel that there is someone is sitting here.
Yeah.
That's his back.
I have, if you look, I have where these two circles are.
Oh yeah.
There's
Yes.
a big
Perfect
heart,
Yes,
and it kind of
that
leads
is.
up
Perfect heart.
to a head with eyeballs at the top, kind of a thing. So I'm seeing almost like a body of some
Maybe
sort.
what you have created with the meditation.
Yes,
Yourself,
yes.
and then
Yes, so you can at your day, you can see, like, you can look at different part of it and see if there is, you know, some I can see like an eye, I can see a nose, I can see here, look here, I can see like someone is wearing like high heels here.
yeah, I see. Yeah.
So you
If I
can
turn
see
mine
different
upside
things.
down, it's